Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the EMAX Interceptor FPV car. Now, when EMAX told me that they were coming out with this model, we were both on a similar page because I was in the stages of building my FPV F1 car, and before you start to worry about this becoming an RC car only channel, that is not going to be the case. I have to say though, ever since playing around with the FPV bikes, combined with the weather always being miserable, and all of the politics that surround drones, the FPV ground-based vehicles feel like a breath of fresh air. I thought that they would be boring, but it couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, I can see this becoming much more popular next year. This one is the basic version, so you get the car, controller, a USB cable, and a mini screwdriver with a spare screw. This package is perfect for people who have already got FPV goggles because it's only 43 GBP or around 56 US dollars. Then if you don't have a pair of goggles, they do make a more expensive version that comes with goggles. And while it's technically toy grade, you can't buy anything like it out of the box. You would have to add FPV yourself to an RC car. It's also extremely capable for a toy. Unlike the Formula 1 car that I modified, it's got proper proportional steering via a servo with an accurate trim dial and a variable throttle, so it can turn and crawl as slow as you like or be as fast and accurate as you like on full throttle. The controller is also running off 2.4 GHz with a power output of 63 milliwatt. So while it's not quite full range, it's not far off. So coupled with the 25 milliwatt VTX, you should be good for at least 120 to 180 meters, depending on your line of sight, of course. It also has a brake in the back position which doubles up as reverse. The only thing you need to add is 3 AA batteries for the controller. In fact, the only thing that makes this car a toy grade model at all is the screw that you have to undo to remove the battery bay, which I believe is a requirement for EMAX to declare it as a toy. This can be fixed using electrical tape, but it's not ideal, and it's a shame because when you undo the screw, you'll find a 1S 300 mAh LiPo connected to a PH2 connector, and you can see the battery bay is much larger, and it was originally designed to fit the bigger Tiny Hawk's LiPo. Now, some companies get around this issue by allowing the battery cover to stay in place when the screw is taken out. The microbike is a good example of this, but unfortunately that is not the case with the EMAX car, and it requires the screw to be in place. In fact, it's not their plan for you to remove the LiPo at all. Instead, the canopy tension fits to the body via these 3 pegs very tightly at the sides and the front. So you have to lift it off to access a USB connector to charge the LiPo with the included USB lead. I don't know why they didn't put a hole in the canopy so that you don't have to keep taking the canopy off, because it's going to eventually result in it cracking. The USB connector only charges at 500 milliamp hours, so I'll be sticking to the electrical tape and a hobby grade charger to charge up different batteries. Otherwise, I'll have to wait almost an hour between LiPos rather than being able to swap them out. That being said, you can get around 20 minutes runtime with the 300 milliamp hour LiPo. However, it's not clear whether the model has its own voltage cutoff. The manual just says stop driving when the LiPo reaches 3.3 volts, but there's no way to monitor that, so I'd say to be safe, set a timer for around about 15 minutes. The camera mount is really nice. I wish I had this for my F1 project. It screws directly into the body and can tilt up or down, as well as swivel side to side, but it's best to keep it as straight as you can, slightly pointing down. I think the camera is the same one that's in the Tiny Hawk, and the VTX comes locked to 25 channels out of the box. To unlock the full 37 channels, it's a long press of the button while powering on the car. The manual states that it's got an LED indicator on it to say whether it's locked or unlocked, but they've just taken that from the EMAX Hawk manual because it's not got that indicator on it. It comes set to Fat Shark channel 1 out of the box, so if you want to change the channel, then you have to do it manually because there's no smart audio, of course, or anything like that, but it's pretty easy to do. Once powered on, you hold the button down for 5 seconds to get into the band menu, and from there it's a single press to switch from the blue band menu to the green channel menu. But if I switch back to the blue band menu and then long press the button for 5 seconds, it should start to flash and we can change the 5 individual bands, and it's a 5-second press to go back to the main menu, and then you can single press to the green individual channel options, and it's a 5-second press again to get into that menu, and you can change the channels, and then 5 seconds back to the main menu and another 5 seconds to save all of the settings. This one is a small complaint, but I wish they had mounted the VTX antenna vertically. You would get much better range out of it. However, where I'll be driving it, it's not going to be a problem. The motor is just a brushed cordless 820 Hubsan style motor, so they should be pretty easy to get hold of if you need to replace it for some reason. The car does have back suspension, but if you have a crash, then the plastic rod pops out of the spring quite a lot. It's easy to put back in, and I know I've pointed out some flaws with this car, however, I absolutely love it. It's a no-brainer if you already have a pair of goggles. The manual is pretty intuitive, and I've got a second one on the way. So I'll put a link in the description of this video if you wish to get one, and I will leave you with some footage. Okay, let's go for a line of sight with this guy. See how it performs. Just going steady on the throttle. Yeah, the wheels are spinning in here on full throttle. Should be fine on carpet though. It's got some speed. Let's see if we can do some donuts. Oh yeah, easy. This car wants to play here. And if we can entice him into doing some donuts. Yeah, it goes well line of sight. But I bet it's more fun FPV.
Breathe you in like oxygen. Oh, in an otherwise suffocating world. I'm reaching out for arms, I'm drowning in the open-ended love we're making, girl. Exhale the past, inhale a future that lasts. Change my heart, change my mind for the last time. Wanna believe in the life I've led. I don't wanna leave another word unsaid. You know my heart will follow you in tomorrow. In tomorrow. Shared my evidence you once really cared. I'm reaching for